Good morning, everyone. So the forum last day, fourth day, and early morning, I don't know, how much you have energy to have a discussion, but this session should be very interesting, and you have noticed this is only one session we talk about mechanization in this forum. So it's very, very, very valuable to us. And I hope we can have a very interesting and exciting discussions. So my name is Noriko Sato. I'm a senior natural resource specialist, ADB staff. Currently, I'm based in Pakistan. I'm working in the Pakistan resident mission and working for agriculture and food security project in Pakistan. So I'm a project processing officer who prepare the next investment project. So I'm quite excited to have a good discussion today in this forum so that I can also have a better idea to prepare better design of the mechanization project in Pakistan, but then, other colleagues can also get benefit from this session. So we have a very interesting, many speakers, discussant today. So just to save the time, so we can start. But before that, briefly, I introduce our panelist participant. So me, Noriko Sato, I'm a moderator, and I also, participated in preparing the Pakistan's mechanization presentation today. So then the Mr. Marco Silvestri, I think most of them, you know him, maybe he is from UNESCAP, ANTAM CSAM, and his organization is the technical entity who has been helping all our mechanization initiative in Asia Pacific. So then Dr. Rosana Amongo, she also has been playing a role for mechanization, agriculture mechanization in Asia Pacific, together with UNESCAP. And then the Dr. Asar Fajardo is a director of Pakistan's National Agriculture Machinery Testing and Evaluation Center. So I understand Dr. Amongo and Dr. Fajardo working closely together for Pakistan's National Agriculture Mechanization Enhancement. So then the Mr. Shrimat Shrestha from Nepal, he is a current president of ANTAM, am I correct? So this time. So he's also closely working and then managing the Nepal, the testing center of agriculture machinery. So then we have Ms. Amna Bajwa. She's an economist and working for food security as an ADB's consultant currently with me. Also, she has been working with the Pakistan government, federal government, and helping them to form, how I can say, strategize the food security, the agriculture sector's work. And then we have Dr. Babul Wasim. I think he's online. Hi, Dr. Babal, are you here?
Hi, Noriko. Yes, hi. I'm here.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, Dr. Babal and then my colleague Takashi Yamano, the economist, they have been doing a very interesting study through impact evaluation. This is a stubble burning issue. There are a big issue in Pakistan. I think, in India, other countries also have a similar kind of a problem. So they have conducted a very interesting study. So today, Dr. Babal Wasim will just, share the first cut of the study result with us. So then we have Asad Ali Zafar, my colleague in Pakistan resident mission. Asad, good morning. Are you here? Okay, maybe he will join later. And then we have two experts from University of Agriculture, Faisalabad in Pakistan, the Dr. Anjum Monir and Dr. Abdul Ghaffur. So hi, Dr. Anjum and Dr. Abdul Ghaffur, are you here today?
Hello, Madam. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, yes, good morning. Thank you. So, they are in our team working for mechanization in Pakistan. So later they will join us as a discussant. But actually the Pakistan presentation, we all work together. So you will see our presentation for Pakistan today later. Thank you. So now could I request Marco Silvetri to talk about the big picture of the UNESCAP and the ANTAM CSAM's work in Asia Pacific. Thank you, Marco.
Thank you, Noriko, and good morning, everyone.
Excuse me,
not
so
sure,
sorry.
yes.
Presentation, please. Can you put it, presentation? Thank you.
So while the presentation, here it is coming up, I'll just say a couple of words on ESCAP and my organization. So ESCAP is the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific. It's the regional development arm of the United Nations in the region. And it has 53 member states and 9 associate members. So it's a very wide geographical coverage. CSAM is a regional institution of ESCAP. So ESCAP has these regional institutions that work on very specific niche sectors with a mandate from the member states. And as Center for Sustainable Agricultural Mechanization, as Noriko was saying, we're the only United Nations entity that is entirely dedicated to agricultural mechanization. Our mandate is to promote the adoption of sustainable agricultural mechanization to achieve production gains, improved rural livelihoods, and poverty alleviation for a more resilient, inclusive, and sustainable Asia-Pacific region. We actually have a history that dates back to our being part of the United Nations, because in 1977, ANTAM, the Regional Network of Agricultural Mechanization, was established here in the Philippines. And yeah, some of the audience here and the speakers here maybe know that, but after a while, in 2000, it was moved to the UN system, first in Bangkok, where the headquarters of ESCAP are, and later on with a new name to Beijing, and it changed name again in 2012. So since then, we are called Center for Sustainable Agricultural Mechanization. Now, since we are the only panel in the food systems, in the Food Security Forum that is going to talk about mechanization, I'll just give a brief introduction of why this is significant. As you know, there are major challenges for agriculture in the region, reduced availability of agricultural labor that is linked also to demographic changes and aging of the agricultural workforce, as well as migration in many countries. There's a big issue that it's lack of gender equality that brings about the so-called gender yield gap. This means that women farmers have been documented to significantly produce less yields than their male counterparts because they lack access to modern technologies, and they also lack access to the right to own land or to finance for agricultural technologies. There's, of course, climate change is a big issue in the region, and this also is further made harsher by the degradation of natural resources and the environment at large. And there's disrupted and inefficient, agricultural value chains, especially now with geopolitical tensions globally and in the region. So sustainable agricultural mechanization has a role to play in all of these issues. It increases yields and output, and this is something that everybody knows. It reduces production costs, but it also, by increasing cropping intensity, reduces the carbon intensity of the crops. It helps with greater speed of operations, and that is helpful in terms of climate resilience. When there are new climate patterns, it's necessary to have machinery to speed up operations and catch up with the new cycles that are starting to be the new normal. There's, of course, the reduced drudgery of work that can help, and the addressing of the workforce shortage. This can help empower women farmers, and also new technologies can attract youth in the agricultural sector. Then by improving efficiency of storage and processing, mechanization can help not only reduce food losses, but empower farmers to decide the time and price of sale. And mechanization has also, and this is something that CSAM has been working on more recently, has a role also in conservation agriculture. And this not only helps resilience of smallholders, but helps also soil health. And by helping soil health, there's a role also in terms of carbon sequestration. So we don't have much time, so I have a few slides that I am putting here with some details, specifically here for conservation agriculture and the role that mechanization can have. I hope the presentations will be made available, so there are more details on what we are doing. But even though there is a debate in conservation agriculture about the role of mechanization, minimum tillage and some practices really help in making conservation agriculture, or the transition to conservation agriculture, more viable in many countries. Here you can see some of the machineries, but as I said, I'm leaving it more for the record for those who are interested in this. Maybe the projects that are more related to the theme of climate smart mechanization and that we do in CSAM are related to the burning of crop residue and the solutions that can be brought about. Asia is the largest producer of crop residue. We have data of about 600, 800 million tons of rice straw alone in the region. It leads, as you can imagine, to negative impacts in terms of air pollution, but it also, apart from the transboundary haze and the implications on health of the people, it also impacts the soil, the nutrients, and the overall fertility. And it's against the conservation agricultural principles of minimum soil disturbance, of course, and this brings long-term effects to the productivity of the region. So the main solution or let's say way of thought that we are promoting in our projects is this circular model of straw utilization that you can see here in a scheme. We have developed it and applied it through a regional initiative on integrated straw management. That's what it's called. And it's quite simple, even if the scheme has a lot of arrows. It's promoting the application of agricultural machinery and some practices to integrate different possible solutions and have a circular use of the straw residue as fertilizer, as fodder, substrate for mushroom growing, and biogas production. And this to show the value of the straw so that the farmers are less incentivized to burn. And also through the use of machinery, they have enough time to get rid of the or use the crop residue. We have country pilots in a few countries that I've listed later, and these pilots were they started here in China. You can see with a wheat maize system. We had this project with the China Agricultural University in Laixi in Shandong province. And through several years, from 2019 to 2022, we started fine-tuning this circular model. And we aim at highlighting the economic benefits to the stakeholders and also incentivize the adoption of these solutions and the adaptation of the machinery and the customization of the machinery to the local pilot sites. So here are some details of what we had as a first pilot in China, and this has been then used for many demonstrations, also online demonstrations. You can see the first picture is a drone shot that we did for a virtual demonstration during COVID when people could not visit, but mostly we have hands-on demonstrations where we invite stakeholders from the region to see what is being done in these pilot sites. Another of the first pilot sites was in Vietnam, and this was more instrumental to the mushroom growing solutions, and there was a study to compare the business as usual in the traditional method of growing mushrooms and the one using the straw residue. Now in 2021 and 2023, we expanded this to Cambodia, Indonesia, and Nepal. And it's actually been funded for another 4 years now. So it's been quite successful, and it has received funding from the United Nations Peace and Development Fund. It's again pilot sites in the 3 countries where we demonstrate some solutions and we tailor and customize the machinery and this circular model to the local needs. So it's a project that learns by doing. And we have regional knowledge exchanges on this. Also, we went to India and Thailand, and we had virtual workshops, as I said, online through the Chinese pilot site. This has produced many policy briefs and research papers. We have a series on reducing the need to burn, and this was focusing on Cambodia, Indonesia, Nepal, and also South Asia and Southeast Asia at large. We had some publications also for Bangladesh, India, Nepal, and Pakistan on challenges and solutions for sustainable management of crop residue, and more of a research paper on air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions from the agricultural sector related to burning. So now moving on to another project that many of the next speakers have been involved in, and that is somehow the reason why we are here and we started collaborating with ADB. This is the Asian and Pacific Network for Testing of Agricultural Machinery, or ANTAM. Again, as I was saying before, having good machinery that increases the crop intensity reduces somehow the carbon intensity of the crops. So the testing of agricultural machinery is something that we see as very much necessary, and not only us, but the countries in the region, to ensure that the machinery that is traded in the region is safe for the operators, but is also efficient and performs well, so that there are less food losses and less impacts on the environment as well, through maybe faulty machinery, especially when there's application of agrochemicals. You can see we have 20 member states at the moment, so these are 20 countries that have a national focal point and participate in the network. The overall goal of the network is to promote mutual recognition of testing results through harmonized regional testing codes. So these are testing procedures for some kind of machinery. Usually it's small machinery because we focus on smaller equipment for smallholder farmers. There are similar initiatives like in the tractor codes of OECD or the tractor codes of the Eurasian Economic Commission. These work on very, very large machinery, tractors, that is not, that's too expensive for most of the smallholders in the region. So we have a process to, let me see, some other benefits and related to the purpose of the project is to somehow create new common definitions and understandings on what are the minimum standards for sustainable agricultural machinery, and reduce the social and economic cost of the machinery that is unsafe, inefficient, and inappropriate, but it's still being traded a lot in the region. But most importantly, we promote capacity and research and development. The initiative aims also at ensuring that there is more competitiveness within countries that maybe have a limited level of manufacturing in the region, but it should push them to improve their competitiveness in the international trade environment and the manufacturing capacity as well. So how do we do this? Mainly, we operate through 2 areas of work. One is capacity building, and the other is the normative work that we do. So you see here the picture is I think this is, the second code that was developed in ANTAM. We currently have 5 codes for 5 kinds of small machinery: power tillers, mini tillers, paddy transplanters, sprayers, knapsack sprayers actually. And we just started with the combined harvester code that needs some fine-tuning. So the idea is on one side to promote the mutual recognition of testing results through the development and adoption of these codes. These are testing procedures. So there are many standards in the world, but a standard alone is not subject to verification by a third party. By having standards and testing procedures and a certification system, there is a more inclusive process that we have in ANTAM to develop the codes, but also we have a third-party verification on the tests. So the codes are developed through technical working groups that have experts nominated by the participating countries, and then they are endorsed by an annual meeting of the national focal points. We also support, in terms of capacity building, the development, the upgrade, and the improvement of the testing capacity and facilities of the participating countries through trainings, study tours, or field visits in countries that are establishing or have recently established their testing facilities, and interlaboratory tests to make sure that the different testing stations in the network are able to perform the tests with comparable results. You will see later, I hope, from the other speakers that this is something that has been going on for quite some time, and we hope that it is seen as something that has improved the overall agricultural sector in these countries. We are very grateful for the interest of ADB in supporting this. The roadmap for ANTAM is, as you see here, in 3 steps somehow. The development of the standards and the codes through this inclusive process in the technical working groups is also our way to hear back on the technological needs of the member states. And then the establishment of the network of testing stations that we are aiming to accredit into the network, to accredit them for performing the codes and producing consistent reports. We have developed a quality manual for this, and this is a guideline for all the participating testing stations where they have every detail from the kind of equipment to the kind of staffing requirements and also templates for the test reports and so on. This is really to ensure the fact that the tests are consistent and comparable across different countries. We have a set of procedures in terms of reference for the different stakeholders and actors in the system. And we are now looking into the final stage of the roadmap, which is the establishment of a mutual recognition system or arrangement or agreement to ensure that these test results are mutually recognized in the countries that participate in the initiative. I just came back from Uzbekistan, where we had a meeting with the standards and certification agencies of the member states, and they have looked into how to have a legal recognition of the ANTAM codes and tests. So to conclude, I just wanted to quote some of the recent points in the call for action of FAO, who held this Global Agricultural Mechanization conference last year. And in the call for action, it's quite clear that the member states call for encouraging the development and harmonization of standards, test protocols, certifications, and data for agricultural machinery to facilitate the trade of safe and well-performing machinery, and also to facilitate the development and establishment of sub-regional and regional protocols for testing and certification of agricultural machinery, including gender-inclusive design. And this is the result of one of the sessions where ANTAM was quite prominently featured, and our work somehow got the recognition in this global stage. But also, quite importantly, both ANTAM and the Straw Management Initiative that I was talking about earlier, they have been recognized as best practices in South-South and Triangular Cooperation by UNOSSC, that's the UN Office for South-South Cooperation. And this somehow shows that the projects have a big potential for being upscaled among developing countries. It also, for us, means that we leverage not only intergovernmental, but all the multi-stakeholder platforms that we can to have this South-South knowledge exchange. And that's mainly the spirit of our office and of all the speakers today. We we have a continuous knowledge exchange where the different countries are learning from each other. And this is also in line with the call for action of the GAMC to strengthen national and international institutions to provide coordination and advice on sustainable agricultural mechanization and digitalization to government and other stakeholders. So I really am grateful for ADB's support in this and for them joining these partnerships that we have had for the last few years. And I look forward to talking to some of you and maybe have more partnerships established soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Marco. Thank you. Okay, any quick, short question? Later, we will have a question and answer session. Okay, so then any question? No, okay. Thank you. So then we move to the next presentation, Dr. Rosana Amongo, Vice Chancellor, University of the Philippines, Los Baños. So she has been working as a leading person for this ANTAM CSAM Asia Pacific system. Thank you. So the presentation, please. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. So welcome to the Philippines for those who are first-timers to visit our country. And to my colleagues, Shemarat, Marco, Dr. Fajardo, and of course, Noriko and Amina, good morning, and to all the participants. So first, I would like to thank everyone for inviting me as one of the panelists for this session. I've been working with the agricultural mechanization sector for almost 20 years, more than 20 years now. And I was introduced as a very young engineer at the ANTAM, came, and then it became CSAM for now, for almost 2 decades. So I never thought I have already reached that one. So this time, I would like to share with you our experiences in terms of how we are advancing agricultural mechanization in the Philippines as part of our advocacy as the national university in the Philippines and as one of the leading universities, I think, in agriculture and in agricultural engineering. So, as I've said, I started very young and I have a very good recall of how ANTAM, which we hosted since 1977 until it transferred to Bangkok, and then how we participated and crafted the Sustainable Agricultural Mechanization in Thailand, and then, of course, the first ANTAM member for the different exchanges of standards and the developed standards in the Philippines, sharing it with the regional, in the ASEAN region. Okay, next, please. I have here? Okay, sorry. So let me just present to you, I would like to present to you the legal framework. So before the 2013 approval of the RA 10601 or the AFMEC law, we were simply different institutions gathered together and under the Department of Agriculture, where this very prominent field of expertise is being advocated. But in 2013, there was a law that was enacted and passed, and this is a 23-year law in the making. Before it was being approved. And you can see there the two major institutions who were basically infused with the Department of Agriculture, and it happened to be coming from the higher education institution, particularly from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, the one that co-chairs the research, development, and extension component of the law, and of course, the one, so this is formerly UPLB, AMDP, that hosted ANTAM for a very long time. And then we have AMTEC, the Agricultural Machinery Testing and Evaluation Center, which is the premier institution for the to test the different agricultural mechanization available in the Philippine market.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it's come.
Okay. So, so it's okay. So, the implementation of the law crafted a national and agricultural and fisheries mechanization program for its first phase. Now we are already on its second phase. For the first phase, you must be noticing there that it's not only agricultural crops that are included in this law, but it also included the fisheries sector, which is also utilizing the different mechanization, fisheries mechanization technologies in coming up with our fish and fish products from either inland culture or from open sea waters. So you have noticed there that I put number 2 and number 5, because these are the two major functions of our higher education institution in advancing agricultural mechanization in the country. So the first one is the Center for Agri-Fisheries and Biosystems Mechanization, so now BioMech, but formerly it was named as Agricultural Mechanization Development Program, together with the creation of the Regional Network for Agricultural Machinery in 1977. It was later on established as one of the programs of the university that is in charge for the advancement of agricultural mechanization in the country. And later on, again, it was elevated into a center. So this, I think, was the reaction, or this is the results of the AFMEC law of 2013, wherein the program was elevated into the center. And I happen to be the one in charge in elevating this institution into a center. And for 35 years as a program, it became a center. And then, as a center, it becomes the co-chair of the regional, of the research, development, and extension activities for all higher education institutions in the country. So right now, we have around 46 institution HEIs that are offering the Bachelor of Science in Agricultural and Biosystems Engineering. And of course, as a national university, as I've said, we are leading, supposed to be, the different HEIs in the country. And this includes not only human resource development for the human complementation of the RA, but including faculty mobilization, trainings, and knowledge sharing and co-creation of the different AFMTs that could be extended to our farmers and fisher folks. As a research institution, research and policy development started when, of course, the implementing rules and regulations of the RA 10601 was enacted and implemented. And most of this research and policy development, of course, there are different, there are more research, technological research that were completed by the different higher education institutions, contributing to the pool of available, locally available agricultural mechanization for our farmers and fisher folks. And so I would just like to give you the different, in the last, supposed to be 7 or 8 years, we have came up with very, very good policy development to complement the AFMEC law. And this one is, the first one that I was engaged in was the Modified Agricultural Mechanization Index, which is an indicative measure of the level of mechanization in a particular area, considering the availability, utilization, and area coverage of the technologies that are being adopted by our farmers or in the countryside. FishMe is the Fisheries Mechanization Index. It comes hand in hand with the development of agricultural crops. and then many more. So right now we are utilizing MAMI as a method or a protocol in coming up with the level of mechanization. It was benchmarked with our members in the CSAM family for coming up with the equation for MAMI or the protocol for MAMI. So as a historical recall, we have in 1968, a barely 0.196 horsepower per hectare for a rice-based farming systems. These are being reported in several study reports. And before the law was enacted in 2013 through a quick index, so we were already involved in this, we have 2.31 horsepower per hectare for a rice-based farming system. So you see how we developed from in the 60s or early 70s until to the in 2013 before the enactment of the law. And because of the law, I think our Department of Agriculture formulated several programs and allocated different funds for the diffusion, acquisition, diffusion, distribution of different agricultural machineries from small to large machines all over the country. So you can see there that it's almost 36 billion already in peso term. So if you convert that with 50 pesos per a dollar, then you will see how much is that in USD. So, and then that amount translated to almost 40,000 different machines that were distributed by the government alone, aside from the acquisition coming from the private sector or individual groups of farmers which are not supposed to be part of the DA programs. So those we have only noted what is being acquired by the government through its different programs, national banner programs. In the Philippines, we have almost 6 banner programs. We have banner program for rice, for corn, and cassava, and then we have also for organic farming, just like your conservation agriculture, so it's been included there. And then we have for livestock, for fisheries, and other crops. And so, you see, because of this intervention, I think including the water supply or the utilization of renewable energy in coming up with your irrigation systems or your water systems to supplement the water requirement of the crops in the farm. So we have what we call the solar-powered irrigation system, and this was also being distributed by the Department of Agriculture in the rice production systems or in the corn production systems and even in the high-value crops production system. So there are more. I think we noted this in 2020, and there were also additional features of the SPIS, as what we fondly call it. There is now the integration of fertilizer applications, so it's now become solar fertilizer, solar-powered fertilizer irrigation system. So, and most of our key zone areas, producing areas, usually receive this package. And so because of that, we again recalculated the level of mechanization from the quick index in 2013. And this one, we came up with the current 3.77 horsepower per hectare. It ranges from 3.351 to 5103. So where should I be in the level of mechanization so that I can achieve the requirement for my population? So as we calculated the ideal or target level of mechanization in the rice-based system with 6 tons per hectare yield, I should be playing with around 5.1 horsepower per hectare. So right now, there is an ongoing project on the level of mechanization covering the regions 1, 5, 7, 8, 11, and 12. So that the first batch were conducted in 2019, and then for additional funding, we received additional funding from the Department of Agriculture, Bureau of Agricultural Research, and so we are conducting the next 6, and we hope that we will be covering the whole we are now politically structured about 15, 16 regions. So Metro Manila will not be considered because it's more of the urban area. And so we are looking forward to go to BARM, which is the Bangsamoro group in Mindanao. So, okay, so that is for the agricultural mechanization, how we develop and advance ourselves in responding to the need of the development in the agricultural sector. And one of the institutions that is also included in the AFMEC law of 2013 is mandating the Agricultural Machinery Testing and Evaluation Center to serve as the premier testing center of agricultural machineries in the country. So ANTEP was established in 1977 because of the need for the testing of machines, which will be distributed by the Department of Agriculture, our government, ensuring that our end users will be getting the best machines in the market. And so in 1977, AMTEC was established just like ARNAM. So I think those are the products of being the host of ARNAM in the Philippines. And then, of course, in 2013, it was strengthened to become the premier and reference testing center of agricultural and fisheries machinery in the country. So it's not a decade-old institution. It's been there for a very, very long time. So I think we are one of the earliest one of the countries that responded the need for testing and evaluation of our machines. And so based on the new function of AMTEC as described, stipulated in RA 10601, the IRR at section, section 27, rule 27, 0.1.1, you have there the 4 major functions that is expected from AMTEC to perform. So the first one is to assist our new established Bureau of Agricultural and Fisheries standards. So this is a reaction of the 2013 AFMEC law. It was created because of the need of machinery testing. And they will be assisting. But before the AFMEC law, they were the leaders in coming up with the different standards because of the need of standards for new machines in the market and the new developments in the local area scenario. And so they came up with 11 volumes of around 251 standards. So imagine how wide is the coverage of the different standards the Philippines have. And you can avail that in their site. It's free, it's downloadable, so it can be shared to anyone who are interested to use it. And then they assisted, of course, BAPS for about 81 standards, and it is a continuous activity of the agricultural mechanization sector. So it's a dynamic, it's continuing, and we are always complying and reacting to the different needs for the different machines, especially those that are coming out. And so if you look at their testing and evaluation, they have done they have done lots of testing. You see, even the pandemic did not hinder them to do additional testing. So it is a continuing activity. And I think you will be visiting AMTEC later in the afternoon after coming from Erie. So they have also different publications for everyone to refer to. And then one of the most important, I think, assignment of AMTEC is the provision for technical assistance in the establishment and operation of testing centers in the country. So based on law, we should be creating our sub-satellite or satellite centers in the Visayas and in the Mindanao region. And so we have already initiated to do that, and training at least more than test engineers to be deployed all over the country to help us out in coming up with the different activities, testing and evaluation activities. So I think this is just 2 slides more. So these are the challenges while we were creating all our role, or complying with the law with regards to the role of higher education institutions. Of course, there are several challenges there. So the curriculum itself should be aligned internationally. So we did some referencing from our neighboring countries, and then integration of the skill sets, because professional BS, agricultural and biosystems engineers are more of the technical type. But the skill sets is lodged under another institution, which is the technical vocational education. So I think this one should be marrying, because it would enhance the capability of the human resource complementation. And then strengthening capabilities of HEI. So we have there some recommendations, referencing, CHED, institutional. The Commission of Higher Education is really for the BS program. And so we would like to integrate the skill sets, especially the operators, the complexity of machines that are coming out. Engineers are not operators, basically. They are the planners, they are the designers, but we have some skill sets that we need to infuse more to come up with to produce world-class and excellent human resource complementation. On research and development, of course, the law has already come up with the National Agricultural and Fisheries Mechanization Program, and part of that is the RDE agenda of the different RDIs, or the Research and Design Institution, or Research Development Institutes, and then the HEI, or the higher education institutions in the country. So it's all laid out, and it's all it becomes a guide for every one of us where we will be going in the next decade for our research and development in agricultural mechanization technologies. And then, of course, there is always an issue. I think in the ASEAN, we will know that this issue is almost common to us, particularly on the financial support of RDE. It's only a very, very meager percentage of our GDP that is allocated for research and development, and Philippines is not exempted on that. And then, of course, on testing and evaluation, so I think Shimarat here is a new player in the testing and evaluation by putting up the testing center in Nepal. That was the time of Director Madhu, 5 years ago, I think. And so I think we have different aspects of creation or establishing the center, but most of this would be challenged by the standards development. And then if you have a big country, the satellite testing centers would also be a challenge. We have 7,600 plus islands in the Philippines, being an archipelagic nation, and we have 3 major islands. We call it Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And the testing center located in Luzon will be very, very much impossible to reach and bring the machine from Mindanao. So we have to go there and establish ourselves to perform the duty of testing and evaluation. Then, of course, accreditation of the human power complementation, which is, I think, is really a part of the higher education institutions and the skills development institutions. So as a summary, I would be looking at our role as an HEI in the implementation of AFMEC law should be the cooperation among stakeholders, not only the HEIs, not only the MFADs or the manufacturing group, not only the local assemblers, not only the testing, but all the stakeholders, and then there should be available. I think this one is the number one problem right now, the availability of resources, particularly on funding. So we have a bottleneck there. We want to implement more activities for the advancement of agricultural mechanization in the Philippines, but we have some limited budget. And then, for sure, we have produced capable manpower to implement all these activities. And with that, thank you very much for listening. And
Thank
we
you
will
very much. Thank you. Thank you. Very interesting presentation. So since I have been working for Pakistan to establish a new testing center, so this is really a good example. And then this Philippines case is taking us to the direction what we have to do it. So thank you very much, Dr. Amongo. Very interesting presentation. We learn a lot from this presentation. Thank you. So then the next one is Mr. Shrestha. Dr. Asa will come later as a discussion. So Mr. Shrestha, so talk about Nepal example, but sorry, maybe Nepal and Pakistan, I have to ask you to just squeeze your presentation bit and then within 10 minutes. So thank you very much. Presentation start.
First of all, I'd like to thank Asian Development Bank for inviting me to share our experiences on the establishment of agricultural machinery testing center in Nepal. With respect to Nepal, it's a country, landlocked country, situated in between the big China and India. And but with respect to the different agroecological condition in Nepal, it's spread from the Indo-Gangetic plain, means the elevation range about 60 to 100 meters to the top of the wall. Means within a short distance, we got a different agroecology. So we got a diverse type of agroecology in the country, and we got from double crop of rice to from the subtropical agroecology to the alpine. So where we got pasture fields in the high altitude. So we got a diverse requirement, but the agriculture is the backbone of our economy. Still, about 25% of our GDP is contributed by the agriculture, and about 2/3 of our people are directly dependent upon the agriculture. In this context, agriculture mechanization is like Philippines. We got a very short history of agriculture mechanization because they have already established a test center in 1977, but now we are doing. But with respect to agriculture mechanization, generally our past policies, means before 2 decades, our policies were not favorable to the agriculture mechanization because our government feared that if the labor is displaced from agriculture, where to give the job? So they have to give the job. So all the policies were very silent on the agriculture mechanization. But from the last 2 decades, due to and also our traditional type of agriculture, subsistence type of agriculture in Nepal, and during our insurgency between 1997 to 2005-06, and also due to the development of this information technology and access to the information ICT technology, people especially the youth migrate from the rural area to the urban area and even abroad in search of job. So the migration led, especially because of this demographic change and the migration, the people, especially there is a scarcity of agricultural labor in the rural area. And that led to the real demand of agricultural mechanization in Nepal. And if you talk about due to the migration led the agricultural mechanization. And because of that, the government have also realized about the real need of agricultural mechanization, and it has formed a policy in 2014 the agriculture mechanization promotion policy, and in which especially for the better access of agriculture machinery, right machinery and quality machinery, this government has brought us lots of programs for the better access of right machinery to the farmers. And also especially the different subsidy programs is also included from the provincial government to the local government. So in this way, our mechanization has increased significantly, because in the last 1 decade, about more than 55% of our area, especially with respect to tillage and number of tractor, is almost more than 60% is increase in the last 1 decade only. So there is a quantum jump of agriculture mechanization in the country in the last 1 decade. And you can see there's a significant, about 55,000 of these tractors, especially in the plain area, in the Tarai area, they are using not only Tarai, but also in the hilly areas also. There's a quantum jump of use of small agricultural machinery, especially power tillers and mini tillers. And also, especially with respect to tracers, it's almost doubled the numbers in the last 1 decade. And the different agriculture, small agricultural machinery, there's a lot of increase in the mechanization in the all over Nepal. And also there's a significant also trading on the agriculture. We also import significant amount of agricultural machinery from abroad. And you see the different subsidy programs increase the use of agricultural machinery. But after the increase in number quantity of this agricultural mechanization, there has been also raised about the quality issues. And with respect to quality, there's a confusion between the rated and the actual specification. There has been lots of disputes among the farmers and the sellers. So, and also another issue is about very minimal use of these mini tillers in hills. And very only it is found that only 50% are only on use. That's also raised about the quality issues. And also the vibration issues, especially because of the youth, male youth, this migrating from the hilly areas, and especially agricultural load has been increased to the women farmers. And the women has to operate those small mini tillers, and there has been lots of vibration, and that is deteriorating their health. So this vibration, this safety issue is also an important issue. And the instruction manual and labeling issues, and also the accidents. Because once the number of agricultural machinery use is increased, there has been also increased the accidents. And about the awareness issue and the standard, safe and quality agricultural machinery, and also the quality of spray, tracers, chaff cutters, there have been lots of issues. And our government has also realized that we have to improve the increased access of quality agricultural machinery. For that, especially in Nepal, we got a very short history, as I mentioned. We got a National Agriculture Research Council. Under that, we got the Agriculture Engineering Division. At the moment, we call that rename as National Agriculture Engineering Research Center. And we work for the evaluate of agricultural machinery, appropriate agricultural machinery in Nepal. We have been especially been the focal point of CSAM. Before that, even from ANTAM onwards, we have been the focal point. We have been engaged with the ANTAM. And also, especially, I should tell that the ANTAM test code, when the ANTAM was in the Philippines, the ANTAM test code has been a very effective, this test code that we have been using for the testing of agricultural machinery in Nepal. And we also realized that this test code, especially that and also in 2014, agriculture mechanization policy, and there has been a formation of ANTAM, because we got a reason, we need to have one regional this center for agricultural machinery testing, and we became the focal point. And especially the technical support of this ANTAM has been very much instrumental for the establishment of our testing center in Nepal. And we established in 2018, we established the Agricultural Machinery Testing Research Center at the central Tarai region of Nepal, centrally located. And ANTAM has also prepared this ANTAM test code for the different, as I mentioned, this 4-5 machinery, they have prepared this test code, and recently we have also prepared our test code for this power tiller and mini tillers for Nepal, and by taking the reference from the ANTAM. And also, especially, ANTAM has been very much instrumental in training and especially human resource development of our test engineers is very critical, and ANTAM has been very much instrumental in the development of our test engineers. Even the Philippines, especially, I would like to thank AMTech, because they have visited this AMTech and they learned how to test, especially different agricultural machinery in our country. And after that, we have already prepared our Nepal standard for power tiller and mini tillers. It's under stage of approval because it's a technical committee we have already approved and is under process for the approval by this standardization council. And also, we already have a test center, but we need to have a good legislation because there may be disputes between the private sector and this testing center. So we have already drafted the legislation for testing of agricultural machinery. It's the last stage of approval by the Nepal cabinet. And also, this is the testing center that we have established, and different testing facility we have already developed, and we are doing the test. And Nepal government has also prioritized what are the machines to be tested, depending upon the especially possibility about more quality issues. Where there is a quality issues, then we have especially mini tiller, both petrol and diesel engine. We have and power tillers, sprayers, because lots of chemicals, people have to deal with the chemicals, the health hazards, safety issues, and even the environmental issues is to be addressed. That the sprayers, shaft cutters, there has been lots of accidents with respect to using the different infrared shaft cutter, and tracers, greenhouse, drip irrigation, hand tools. These are the major prioritized because we do not have lots of facilities, so we have prioritized these equipments for the testing. And with respect to issues on the quality of agricultural machinery, there's a clear framework of standardization testing certification is needed, and there's a need of strengthening the infrastructure and human resource, and calibrate of the testing equipment, and the test code manual regulations is to be, we have to be finalized. And main thing is that we are also building the awareness among the farmers about the quality agricultural machinery. For that, we got 4 institutions we got together: Bureau of Nepal Standards and Metrology, Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, even the provincial government, and Nepal Agricultural Research Council. And especially testing center, and we have formulated. We got this technical and directive committee, and we got this institutional framework that I've already mentioned, and this is our standard setting process, and this is our institutional setup. But especially at last, what I would like to just take home message is that from our experiences, one is the building testing center is good thing, and especially the human resource is also testing. It is very crucial for the better access of our quality agricultural machinery to the farmers. Testing is the key. For that, especially the capacity building with respect to human resource development is the key, because we need better test engineers. And also, along with this technical capability, there should be a better legislation and the institutional development, institutional framework. That is also very much important. At the moment, what we are trying is one good thing what we are doing is that we are involving the different stakeholders, maybe the traders, local fabricators, educational institute, and even the extension research. We all gather together and we are jointly working to develop this testing mechanism. So in this way, I think we are working in the right direction with the help of different experiences. At the moment, I'd like to thank you all for providing the opportunity to share our experience.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Again, very interesting. So the first presentation in Philippines, you maybe recognize this university academia taking lead. Now the Nepal case, it's government expert entity taking lead. So now I would like to invite Ms. Amina Bajwa to explain about what we are doing in Pakistan now. Thank you, Ms. Amina.
Hi, I'm Amna Bajwa. Presentation, please. Okay, I'll quickly talk about the agriculture sector of Pakistan. Extremely critical for the country, 23% contribution to the GDP. 37% of the total employed people are in agriculture, but more importantly, 1/3 of the women employed are in agriculture. About 8.3 million farms in the country. The majority of them are in the province of Punjab, and that is why Punjab is a focus for us. And 90% of all farms in the country are small-sized, which means they are less than 12.5 acres in size. Overall, the level of mechanization in the country is low. As you can see on the left chart, Pakistan is about at 35% as compared to some of the other regional countries. Horsepower per acre, again, is pretty low, 0.9, whereas FAO recommends a minimum of 1.4 horsepower per acre. So we have a clear objective here. We need to increase it at least to a minimum of the global standard. So we all understand that mechanization, and not only just mechanization, but when it is coupled with other factors, it leads to low productivity. Low level of mechanization leads to low productivity of crops. And we have seen this trend in Pakistan. So for example, here, you see the wheat yields. They're pretty low as compared to India, Bangladesh, China, again, neighbors in the region. We produce a lot of wheat, 28 million tons. Similarly, rice, our yields are not very high. However, maize is a new and upcoming crop. A lot of people are now adopting better seed and also using more advanced mechanization. And you see the yields in maize are at par with some of the other countries in the region. So you see a direct correlation of mechanization and also improved other agriculture practices. The state of mechanization currently, this is on average across all crops, 25% of sowing and 40% of harvesting is mechanized. There has been a lot of focus on tractorization and the use of tube wells for extracting water from the ground. And as you can see in the picture, we also put a lot of focus on making our tractors look beautiful. Mechanization is adopted primarily in operations such as land preparation and spraying. 57% of the farmers in Punjab use laser land levelers. They see a lot of saving in water for that. And also there's been a lot of increase in the uptake of small machinery implements like sprayers, drills, and planters. Why? Because these implements are cheaper and easy to use. Now, I'll talk a little bit about the ownership of these machineries. So the cheaper and immovable machines, such as the tube wells or the sprayers, are mostly owned by the farmer, and there you see more use of these machines. Expensive advanced machinery is either rented. So for example, 87% of the tractors and 84% of the threshers are rented, or in case of non-availability, operations are done manually, which results in higher losses. Key issues in Pakistan on why the adoption is low. Operational-wise, the land holdings are getting smaller. And with the increasing population and adoption of inheritance laws, enforcement of inheritance laws, the lands are being fragmented, and this goes against the economies of scale argument in mechanization. There's inadequate availability of mechanical farm power, mostly because a lot of machinery at one time of production operation is required at once, so there's less supply. There's also lack of technical support and after-sales service by some of these companies operating. On the policy side, again, the country has prioritized the use of tractors over the last 2-3 decades, and a lot of subsidy schemes came in just for tractors. A lot of the other machinery were or have been ignored. There has been a lack of machinery standards and testing facilities, and after today's session, I realized more and more how important this is to improve the mechanization in the country. There also has been a restriction on imports to conserve forex losses because the country thinks the investment in importing machinery will somehow make their money fly away. So financial-wise, the cost of machinery is increasing also because the Pakistani rupee has devalued significantly in the last 3 to 4 years. There's also inadequate credit facilities. Commercial banks are hesitant to lend to farmers, And these days, imagine the interbank borrowing rate is about 22%, which means the cost of lending is also very high. On the capacity side, there's lack of awareness, and there's also lack of skilled labor in use of precision or high-tech farm equipment. So talking about lack of standards, the local manufacturing does happen, but without standards or testing, which obviously results in poor quality and also loss in farmer confidence in machinery. So it has a social aspect also. However, a system for accreditation and development of standards and having certification exists at the federal level. We have these two institutions, but now we need to talk about solutions. So I think of mechanization from the pillars of the food security. I believe all of you are aware because we're sitting at the Food Security Forum today. So I feel the mechanization needs are very similar. So we need machinery to be available. It has to be affordable. It has to be utilized efficiently, and farmers, not only men, but women should have the knowledge, and also it should be stable and available without disruptions. So talking about some of the initiatives that the government has taken to enhance mechanization, the State Bank, which is the central bank, has backed some financial incentives for local manufactured and also imported machineries. And the Ministry of National Food Security is now initiating a request to prepare a national agriculture mechanization policy with support from ANTAM CSAM. However, we propose that number one, we need to adopt international testing codes in order to establish a machinery testing center. And within some of the institutions, there needs to be some amendments in the legal framework and also the institutional arrangements to make sure a testing center can be set up and run very efficiently. So in Punjab, the province where we are now planning on working, again, some of the proposed initiatives include subsidy support, which will feed into needs 1, 2, improve capacity building for men and women both, establishing a testing center, collaborating with the private sector to disseminate technologies and also to develop or come up with innovation in a very sustainable manner. And lastly, invest in research and development. And we have our academia, our partner, University of Agriculture, Faisalabad, who's also leading these efforts. ADB and CSAM both have been extremely supportive to the government of Pakistan. Under the technical assistance program, the ADB has supported, for example, they invited the ANTAM CSAM experts to Pakistan for data collection and preparation of needs assessment to establish a machinery testing centers. They also facilitate the federal and provincial government institutions in coordination, and they've assisted submission of machinery standards to the Standards Control Authority in the country. In addition, they've facilitated study visits of government machinery experts, and this shows a timeline. You know, in the last 10 months, there's been multiple events where Pakistani government experts have learned a lot from on this topic. Lastly, ADB is now planning on a 5-year investment project in the province of Sindh, approximately $100 million concessional loan. For this, under the TA, they've already conducted a farm machinery survey. Especially, this was needed because the last agriculture machinery survey conducted by the government is 14 years old. So this was very critical. The key outputs of this project is, number one, to increase agriculture mechanization in the province and also to establish at least one machinery testing center. We look forward to working more with ADB, with CSAM ANTAM, and learning from all my colleagues here who've already gone through this journey to establish a machinery testing center. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. This is where we are now for Pakistan. Thank you. So now allow me to go to the last presentation, Dr. Babul Wasim from Pakistan. So this is related to the Marcos, the part of the stubble burning air quality management. So Dr. Babul, could you please start your presentation? Yeah. And then the presentation also, please put on presentation. Please.
Okay. Thank you very much, Noriko and ADB, for providing this opportunity to share the results of one of the study that we have conducted in Pakistan in last 3-4 years. Next slide, please. Okay, so stubble burning and smoke during the rice harvest season is becoming a serious issue in Pakistan. This map shows is of 2020, where you can see this area circled in the red. These are the 5 events in Pakistan just post harvest of rice, basically. And on the other side, you can see Indian Punjab. They have a lot more events of the burning, but in Pakistan, this issue is also becoming more serious. Next slide. In 2019, FAO conducted a study using the focus group discussions with farmers. And their finding is that 2 decades ago, farmers used to harvest and thresh the rice or paddy crop manually, and they used to use the residuals of these crops as a fodder for the animals. But after 2000, or last 2 decades, you can say after 2005 or something, wheat combine harvester have been used in the paddy harvesting. And since then, there is a stubble height. The height of the stubbles left in the field is around 15 inches, and the farmers, they prefer to burn these residuals to quickly clean their field, because in 2 of the provinces, Punjab and Sindh, the rice wheat system is dominant cropping system in these areas. And after the rice harvest, they have to quickly sow the wheat. So they need to clean their field very quickly. And if there is like height of the stubbles is high, they have to rotate their land 2 or 3 times to prepare it for the next sowing, which definitely costs a lot to them. So they prefer to burn the residual, and then after the burning, they rotate the land only once, so they can save the cost of rotation and preparation of the land for the next sowing. And the main reason, as I said, is basically to save the labor, to eradicate the weeds and pests, and quickly prepare the land for the next sowing. That is the reason they burn it. And according to farmers, they know that, they are aware that when the field is wet, the stubble is wet, it is green, it has the moisture, and you burn it, it increases the amount of smoke in the air. They are aware of this negative environmental impact of burning. And about 20% of the farmers, those who were surveyed by FAO, they reported that the burning incidents of the residual has increased in Pakistan in last few years. And that is linked with the increasing cost of the land preparation. As the land preparation cost is becoming more expensive, the burning incidents are also increasing. Next slide.
Dr. Baba, sorry, we don't have much time, so maybe you can squeeze and quickly go to the
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry.
So ADB started one technical assistance. They provided one technical assistance to the Punjab Agriculture Department that started in 2019 and ended in 2023. Under that technical assistance, we demonstrated the technologies, better technologies, or you can say rice harvesters to the farmers. In fact, we did it for 3 crops, wheat, rice, and maize, but in this presentation, we are focusing on rice. They introduced new machines, including the Kubota and Thinker, half feed and full feed machines. And to see the impact of that mechanization or demonstrations, we designed a cluster randomized control trial where we conducted 3 rounds of the survey: baseline in 2020, midline in October, December 2021, just after the harvesting of the rice, and then endline survey we conducted in 2023. And in this presentation, I'm going to share the results of those surveys. Next slide. So machines that we introduced include basically a Kubota machine that is half feed for the standing rice crops. Second is the Thinker machine that is full feed for the large crop and the semi-large crops. And third is basically the conventional machine that is used by the farmer, that is wheat harvester New Holland. Next slide. Okay, these are the 3 machines. The machine on the left side, that is New Holland 8070. It is a full feed machine that harvests the crop, and also it chops the rice straw. That is the machine conventionally used by the farmers. but it is designed for the wheat, and wheat is very different from the rice. Rice is much more, you can say, you need to handle it more gently than wheat. So by using this machine, there are more harvest losses. On the right side, these are the two machines that we showed to the farmers and demonstrated in the field. One is Kubota ER112 half feed machine. This machine harvests the crop, but it saves the wheat, the rice straw, which can be used as a fodder for the farm by the farmers, or they can sell it to paper factories or others uses. On the right side, extreme right side, there is another machine that is Thinker, which is a Chinese machine, and that is full feed. That again chop the straw, so you can make it a fodder, but its collection of that fodder or chopped rice straw is difficult. And in the table below, these are the results of our the field observations, and this data was collected by our agriculture engineers during the demonstration plots, in the demonstration plots. So you can see, if you look at the field losses, the machine that is currently used, it around 3.6% field losses, while in case of Kubota, the losses are less than 2%, and again, Thinker, it's 1.8%. If we look at the impurities, with the New Holland machine, it's around 4%, while with Kubota, it is less than 1%, and with Thinker, less than 2%. Broken grains percentage is again high if you are using New Holland machine, New Holland wheat combine harvester, but it is much less if you are using the rice specific crop harvesters. And breakage percentage, especially if the tip of the rice is broken, it is not of the export quality anymore. And Pakistan, rice is one of the main source of generating the foreign reserves for Pakistan through exports. So that is important for Pakistan. And the last row is very important. If you are using the wheat combine harvester, for the rice harvesting, the stubble height is around 13 to 15 inches. But in case of Kubota, it is around 5.6 inches. And if you are using Thinker, it depends on the adjustment of that machine, but it's still 5 to 10 inches, less than the wheat harvester, but higher than the Kubota harvester. So which means if you are using Kubota, there will be less burning. Next slide. Okay, these two graphs shows the adoption rate and intent for the adoption by the farmers. On the left, the graph shown on the left side, you can see at the time of the baseline 2020, under the control group, the use of the Kubota machine was around 8%. Between 8% farmers were using Kubota for the rice harvesters. And in the treatment group, it was around 19%. Although we tried to randomize it, but you cannot get identical kind of villages. But if you look at the changes in the adoption rate in the following years, you can see there is a much more increase in the adoption in the treatment villages, while in the control villages, there is an increase, but that is much lower than in the treatment villages. Then we looked at the intent for the adoption, or if the farmer feel that the adoption of the Kubota can be beneficial. Again, you see the same trend. In the treatment villages, the adoption is very high, or the intent or realization that Kubota is useful is high as compared to control villages. Next slide. Okay, this slide presents the economics of adopting or using the Kubota, or you can say rice harvesters. First row presents the rental price of the using combined wheat combine harvester. And the second row presents the charges for the using Kubota or the rice specific harvester. And you can see the Kubota or the rice specific harvester is almost cost twice as much as of the wheat combine harvester. So if we don't teach the farmers, this price is even higher, but the benefit is even much higher. So farmer just look at this price and he will not prefer to adopt it because Kubota machine or the specific rice harvesters are more expensive. So what we did in our demonstration is we make them understand from where you can save the money, although you are paying high rent, but the benefit you are getting is much higher. So you can see there's a reduction in the harvest losses. Using the Kubota, it is almost 3.5 months on average per acre. When I say months, is a local unit that we use here for the 40 kg. So it's per acre is like around 120, 25 kg extra produce they are getting. And additional price of the paddy harvested by the rice harvester, they get the premium price per 40 kg because there is less breakage of the grains, there is less impurities, so they can get higher price for that rice. It means not only for that additional produce they are getting or quantity they are getting price, but on the entire produce from that land, they can get premium price. And price of the straw they saved by the rice harvester, that can be used either as a fodder for the animals, or it can be sold to the paper factories. And this selling to the paper factory is very common in the pilot sites that in our pilot sites. So they can make some revenue or money from that. And also they save the money in the land preparation. So if we look at the net benefit in the end line, it is around 29,000 or 30,000 Pakistani rupees per acre, which mean around $110 per acre, which is quite big a money for farmers to save. So the point that we are trying to make is farmers is less concerned about the environment unless you present him some economic benefit of adopting that. So what we need to do is, one is the development side of the machineries, bringing more machineries, and second is, unless you educate the farmers, he will just look at the initial value or the rent he has to pay. So you need to educate the farmer, demonstrate new technologies, tell them the benefit, and then it will be adopted. Ultimately, otherwise, we will end up that bringing more machines, but adoption rate will still remain low. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This is Takashi. Still, you are preparing the report from this result. But this year, we will publish this the report, right? Thank you very much. Thank you. So then sorry, I need 5 minutes more from you, but if you have something to do it, please leave. But otherwise, I would like to invite Dr. Asa Fajalt. So he is a director of Pakistan National Agriculture Machinery Testing Center at Los Banos, Philippine University. So just to some few points from your experience, please share that with us. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, colleagues. I'm Arthur Fajardo from the UP Los Baños. Sorry. Okay, so this part is already mentioned by Dr. Amongo. So I like to only emphasize the part of the testing center in food security. So Marco already mentioned one of the advantage of mechanization is the increased output. Okay, so in relation to testing, the previous presentation mentioned the losses. Okay, the measurement of losses is one of the activity in the testing of machinery. Okay, so in AMTech, it's part of the whole testing methodology. So we have to maintain that the equipment, the facilities to measure the losses. Okay, it's one of the important aspect of testing. Not only the efficiency, okay, the reduced emission, so also the losses. Okay, so in AMTech, we make sure that we completely test the machine. Okay. The next, is that moving? Oh, sorry. Okay, so in AMTech, so we're testing different machinery from production to irrigation structures, both commercial and prototype. Then this is a sample of the testing conducted in the field for we go to the manufacturers to test their machines. Then the output or the samples from this testing, so we brought them to the laboratory to determine the losses. Okay, so that's one of the activities. Then this is our facilities at the center. So we test their tractors, engines, and that leftmost, sorry, is our grain analysis laboratory. So where we measure the losses from the machines. Okay, then also as part of our testing activity, so we incorporate the results of the testing in the establishment of the standards. Okay, so as mentioned, as already our first function is to assist the BAPs in the formulation of standards. So we gather this data from our testing and we incorporate it in our activities with standards development, not only in BAPS but also in the ANTAM network. So we coordinate that data. So as of now, we have 7 ongoing standards development under the BAPS. So I want to clear that we are only assist, so we're not doing the standards development. Okay. Then, of course, as part of our assistance to Punjab, we started last year with the visit, as mentioned by Amina, and a workshop also last year here in ADB. Also, and the existing technical assessment report, as at AMTEC, we're incorporating our experiences operating the testing center into this technical assistance to Punjab, Pakistan. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you. So we have been collaborating each other. We are getting the Pakistan's AMTEX, who support to Pakistan's testing center development and the standard development. Thank you. So last one, so I think the Faisalabad Agriculture University colleagues are online. I have one a request to you, Dr. Gafur and Dr. Munir. So the Dr. Amongo mentioned that the collaboration between the academia and this technical work in particularly the developing this engineering mechanization. So the university's role, research R&D's role is very important. So in this aspect, I would like you to briefly explain, just 1-2 minutes, what the University of Agriculture now trying to do it. I understand you already included some part in your curriculum. So could you please briefly explain your effort, please, Dr. Anjum?
Okay, madam. Thank you very much. First of all, I will just explain that what problem we have been facing in Pakistan regarding the mechanization issues. And the first point is the yield gap due to conventional sowing and planting system. And it has been identified that about 12% losses have been taking place in the sowing and planting. And it is a figure quoted by the Farmer Ministers for Science and Technology. And then we have been facing high grain losses in the combined harvesters. And it has been identified that the losses in some machines are too high. It is equal to 10 to 15% losses because due to poor standardization of the machinery. Then there is also problem of inefficient spraying and methods, and the farmers have been using the conventional knapsack spraying system, which has a health hazard problem for the farming community, environmental issues, and also the more medicine is used for the application. Then we have been facing problem for the high post-harvest losses of the perishable and grains, and then the poor quality of locally manufactured agriculture machinery, and also the lack of agriculture machinery service center. So in this area, we want to improve our agriculture mechanization, and because you have seen that the main emphasis is to establish a service center as well as the testing center in Punjab, especially, as Madam Meena has told, that most of the agriculture is taking place in our Punjab province, and there is a need to establish a testing center in Punjab. And the remaining thing will be explained by the Dr. Ghafoor, my colleague.
Thank you. But just, Dr. Just a few, 1 minute. Your effort, curriculum inclusion.
Okay. So thank you. Good morning, everybody. So we have added a course on standardization and testing of agricultural machinery in our curriculum. So this course will be offered to the students of BSc Agricultural Engineering degree program. So similarly, in Pakistan, we have issues of poor metallurgy and materials. So these are the issues in the adoption of mechanization. So because normally the manufacturers are using the heavy materials and the machines are heavy, so also we need more power. So there is also high losses of fuel consumption, especially in the form of diesel. So similarly, there is a lack of standardization machines that results in the lack of interest of farmers. So if we don't have the standard machines, then the farmers are discouraged to adopt these machines. So in this case, the CSAM ANTAM is doing a great work to develop uniform test code for the Asian countries. So we really appreciate the efforts of the CSAM ANTAM. And also, I would like to acknowledge the efforts made by our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Iqrar Ahmad Khan, and Ms. Noriko Sato from the Asian Development Bank to promote mechanization in Pakistan. So we really thankful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And then I see my colleague Asad Ali Zafar in Pakistan in the mission. Asad, sorry, time is running, but if you want to say something, because you are working in the water resources sector, again, you are mentioning to me many times you need a mechanization.
Yes, Noriko, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
So I'll be very quick in a minute. So thank you very much. Very useful presentations and learning from the Philippine experience. So like I can see that the R&D, regulation and testing, they are three very important part in our ensuing project, and we work on it. But the most important, and you also mentioned, is the R&D and human resource development. So my suggestion to our Pakistani colleague is that in Punjab, ADB has a workforce readiness project, which is actually looking at the technical and vocational education curriculum development. So I think there needs a better coordination, and that's an opportunity where the human resource development can be strengthened in this area. It's a very long project, approved last year, and it will go up to 2029. So that's my only recommendation. And thank you, Babar. That's a very good evidence-based work, and looking forward to the report so we can put to the government for its for decision support. Thank you, Noriko.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So thank you very much. And I'm sorry, time is running, but if somebody has a very, fundamental short question, please.
Yeah, well, it's not.
The microphone? The microphone? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I think there are 2 points I would like to understand. You said the after mushroom production, the substrate of mushroom is used for composting. So I would have thought much of that would be exhausted by mushroom itself. So has there been analysis, nutrient analysis of that substrate? That's one thing. And probably there is use of pesticide, fungicide in mushroom production. I'm not sure. If that is so, is there any residual, pesticide? That's one thing. The second thing, you are doing great work on crop residue management, particularly for rice straw. Have you considered this biofermentation of rice straw using lactobacillus bacteria? I think that innovation is coming from China. There are other countries which are working on that. And what is the scope of industrialization of biofermentation of rice straw? Thank you.
Is this to Marco? Marco, sorry. No, I was informed that we need to leave this. So then maybe, sorry, you directly communicate. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, yeah,